Well, friends, today is a special one. Let me welcome you to the 100th episode of the Wellness Simplified podcast.
You're listening to the Wellness Simplified podcast. Simple wellness tips to help you improve your life without turning it upside down. With your host, award-winning fitness instructor, nutrition coach, and wellness expert, Susie Fevens.
Whenever I listen to podcasts and they have like one of these benchmark or landmark, whatever terminology you want to use, episodes, like episode 100, I always think, wow, like that is really amazing. And it's not something that I really expected that I would be sitting here and recording back when I started this in March of 2019. And can we just take a second to appreciate what a different world we are sitting in here, July 2021 versus March 2019. So many things have happened. And when I thought about recording this episode, first of all, I wanted to keep it short and sweet for summer, as we know, but I wanted it to be something a little bit special. So I really tried to think, what could we talk about today that would be brief, but also fitting for the 100th episode? And I think I found it. And I think the answer is to be you, as simple as that sounds. 100 episodes is a lot of episodes. There are some episodes that I'm really, really proud of. Some episodes that I'm just kind of about. And there were a handful of episodes that I was really pretty nervous about releasing. Not because I had really sensitive information, but because they were on topics or spoke about things that I thought maybe people wouldn't be interested in. Maybe people would think was a little bit too far out of my scope, perhaps. And those are the episodes that I always got the most feedback on how important they were or how helpful they were for people. And on that same note, that same thing happens in my business in general. Whenever I have an idea that I think is a little bit too far out there and I think, oh, I don't know about this. And then I just kind of put some feelers out. 9 times out of 10, I am astounded by the response. Most recently, of course, people who follow me know I have been doing my Monday night flashback series classes where I have been taking an artist or a group and in most recent weeks, a few different compilation playlists and choreographing a bodyweight class to it. The first one I did was the Backstreet Boys. During lockdown, I just wanted to do something fun. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be fun for me. I will do it for my monthly Well You members and maybe like 2 or 3 other people will want to join us and we'll have a good time. Fast forward to like 27 extra people joining us. And then the next week we did Britney Spears and we had like 37 extra people join us. Like over the course of 8 weeks, we on average had anywhere between 35 and 60 people in these classes, just rocking out, having fun, exercising to music that they hadn't listened to for a while, hence the flashback. But it was something that I had wanted to do for so many years. I wanted to do like a Destiny's Child class. I wanted to do a Britney class. I wanted to do a Backstreet Boys class. It just was never something that I could A, fit into my schedule, B, figure out, is this something that somebody would even want? And it was. When I decided, I don't care, I'm just going to do it, even if it's just me and 3 other people, I found out that there was a lot of people who were interested. Of course, part of that is that the timing was right. We were in lockdown here in Nova Scotia. There were no gyms open, no fitness studios open. So people had to work out at home on their own or go for walks, runs. So people were looking for things to do and I was there and it was just a good timing, okay? So I recognize that if I had just done this any other time, not necessarily would I have had the same response. So part of that is timing. And that is something that really we need to remember. Another part of it is I didn't sit on this idea once I fleshed it out. Like it had been in my head for years that I wanted to do this sort of a thing. But once I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it, I just did it. I didn't sit around trying to make it perfect. I didn't sit around trying to figure out all the things. I just made a reel for Instagram, which I still can't watch it. I find it so cringy, but I was like, you know what? Instagram really is prioritizing reels. I think this is a decent idea. Even if the reel is garbage, at least it'll get the word out and people flippin' loved it. And then my reel game improved or get more cringy, however you want to put it, over the weeks to come. But that first one, those first few ones were the most popular ones, and they were not all that spectacular, but they were what people needed in the moment. So timing is a big part of this. But listen, if there's something that you've been wanting to do and you have the ability to do it, because let's not forget about privilege in here as well, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of things that they would like to do, but because of their circumstance in life at this moment, they are unable to do them. So that is a different conversation, because there's lots of people who can't afford to do something, don't know how to do something, wouldn't feel safe doing something that they want to do. I want to recognize that and recognize my privilege in the fact that this thing that I wanted to do, I was able to do and do so safely. But most of us have a few things that we want to do that we can do, but we've been putting it off, whether it's writing that book, whether it's learning to ride a bike, I don't know, learning to swim, or something wild and crazy like you want to start a band. You want to learn how to play the drums. I don't know what the thing is. But what I do know is the more you lean into those things that make you you, the more life satisfaction you will have. When you are trying to hide who you really are or downplay who you really are, you're not living the life that you were meant to live. And again, let's not forget this, the aspect of privilege here. Some people are not in a safe place to do that. But for those of us who are, I think we owe it to not only ourselves, but to everyone around us to be authentically ourselves and lean into those things that we think are weird. Because every time I've leaned into those weird things, we're talking yoga at Hogwarts, we're talking about these Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears classes, being a fitness instructor in general, starting a podcast, and now here we are 100 episodes later. You need to lean into who you are. The ironic thing about this podcast, when I was growing up, I hated the sound of my voice. I hated it so much. And I don't know that I got to the point where I love it, but it doesn't make me cringe, not like some of those reels do. And that's probably because I've been forced to hear myself so much, teaching classes, recording classes, producing this podcast, etc. But as someone who's recording their 100th episode of a podcast that I never thought I would ever even start, never mind stick to for all this time, someone who has over and over done things that were ridiculous, but they did them anyway because they were things that they wanted to do, I have been shocked and thrilled and humbled by the support other people have provided when I have done those things. If there is something that you want to do, and you are in a position that you can do it, it's just you that's holding you back, please do it. If you want to learn watercolors, look up a YouTube video. Like whatever it is, you can take tiny steps. You can move towards that person that you want to be, or those things that you wanted to do, those goals you wanted to accomplish. Don't sit around and wait any longer. If you're able to do them, because the next thing you know, you're 100 episodes into a podcast. The next thing you know, you are on the front page of the newspaper holding a pretend magic wand advertising your yoga at Hogwarts classes. The next thing you know, you're choreographing routines to Britney Spears songs that your teenage self would be so thrilled to hear that you were doing. Be you, and you can accomplish amazing things. That is it for this week's episode. Episode 100. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here through all of the episodes, whether you've listened to them all or this is your first one. Thank you. Just the same. And here's to 100 more. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of advice I got a decade ago before I turned 30, or right around the time I turned 30. I was thinking about doing something and I said, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm almost 30. It seems pretty late to start. My friend, who's a few years older than me, at the time was around 35, and she's like, you know what? There are lots of things right now I wish I would have done when I was 30 that I thought was too late to do, because now they would be done, and here I am 35 and I still haven't done them. So don't think that you're too old. Whatever that thing is, I want you to truly investigate how you can do it. And let me know what that thing is. I would love to hear what that thing is. Find me on Instagram at Susie Confesses. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next week.